Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out in the globe today. Welcome to episode 25 of the Cranky Old Bastard. We are here coming to you direct from the brewery overlook on one hell of a hungover fucking day.
Speak for yourself.
Fuck you. We've got a great show for you, as usual. We'll do the best we can. We'll bring you some great information and all kinds of cool stuff coming your way. Off we go.
You forgot to introduce yourself.
A dragon has come to our village today. We've asked him to leave, but he won't go away. Now he's talked to our king, and they worked out a deal. No homes will he burn, and no crops will he steal. Now there is but one catch, we dislike it a bunch. Twice a year he invites him a virgin to lunch. Well, we've no other choice, so the deal we'll respect. But we can't help but wonder and pause to reflect. Do virgins taste better than those who are not? Are they salty or sweet or more juicy? Or what do you savor them slowly? Gulp them down on the spot. Do virgins taste better than those who are not?
Alright, that's all we get for that. Okay.
So, let's start off with politics. Politics, 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 politics.
Yes, let's go to politics. Alright.
Now, if you think I'm going to be merciful because my co-host is hungover, think again.
Yeah.
It's not going to fucking happen. So, California wants to succeed from the U.S.
That went so well for the last set of states that tried to do that, don't you think?
Well, I don't know. I really don't care. They've actually got a 2018 ballot.
Yeah, well, you know what's interesting about this? They might have a ballot, they might actually vote on it, but it's never, ever going to happen. The United States is never going to let a state secede from the Union.
No. Look what happened the last time.
That's exactly what look what happened the last time some states tried to secede from the Union. Now, of course, if the U.S. were to let California secede, look what everything they would lose. You know, the entire western coast, well, most of the western coast of the United States.
Well, Oregon and Washington and Alaska would end up following, so would Hawaii. And
so, yeah, so
then we got 4 new provinces, 5, including Hawaii. But hey, you know. Well, but no, they won't let it happen because they're going to lose so much.
Well, yeah, and the United States has already proven that it won't let anyone secede from the Union, as a number of states tried to do just over 150 years ago.
Yeah, well, but apparently the state attorney general has issued an official ballot measure title and summary Tuesday. The campaign can now start gathering more than 585,000 signatures it will need to qualify for the 2018 ballot.
You can bet they'll get it, because after all, it is California, home of the leftards.
Yes. But those leftards will then want to join Canada.
Yeah, well, we've got enough. No, we don't want them. We've got enough leftards up here.
We got our own Hollywood up here.
Yeah.
It's called Victoria and Vancouver.
There you go. We don't need them.
Yeah, I guess that would be Canada.
And of course, California being so good at running its current economy would run itself so well as a country.
Yeah, well, that's why they join Canada, because they think that they get a price break on the hydro that we sell them.
Ah, yeah, there's a possibility.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Maybe we'd actually charge them real prices like they do over in Quebec.
You know what should happen?
It's Ontario Hydro where they overcharge.
Oh, fuck. No, they just anally rape you.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we could get California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, and Texas, okay, because then we get the oil from Texas and the oil from Alberta, and fuck OPEC.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're in this area here, let's dive into the latest fiasco from
the boy blunder,
President Trump, man.
Oh, Trump,
man, and his removal of transgenders from the whatchamacallit thing. All right, we're talking about Trump here, and what he has issued the order for transgenders to no longer be allowed in the U.S. military.
Yeah, there's a former Special Forces soldier who's now trans and says, "Come tell me to my face I'm not worthy."
It's not about not being worthy. It has nothing to do with not being worthy. People are taking this to places that I think they really shouldn't be taking it, because it's not about being worthy, and they seem to think they have a right to participate in the military. You don't have a right to participate in the military.
No one has the right to participate in the military. That's why they're very selective. I mean, you've got to be in shape. You've got to be able to do X and Y.
You can be refused to enter the military for any number of physical reasons.
Yep. They can turn around and say, "No, we don't like your attitude. We don't want you."
That's right. It has nothing to do with that at all. What it is, and it boils down to a lot for the military, is dealing with the transgender in the military is basically a hassle for them.
But they've been doing it.
Expense.
They've been doing it.
Only for a year.
But still, everything's in place now.
Not completely in place, and they found that they don't like it. Now, everyone seems to think Trump made this decision all by his lonesome. Do you, honest to God, think he made this decision all by his lonesome?
I think he made the choice by himself.
Well, he had to make the choice because.
But he may have had some input from
all his generals.
Yeah, the general staff and a few other people, and then I think he said, "You know what? I'm gonna make up my own mind, and no matter what you guys say, and just say fuck it."
Well, yeah.
He's very anti-trans.
Well, I don't think he's anti-trans.
Yeah, he is. He's come out and said as much.
Really?
Yeah.
We need some clips on that. We got.
When he was campaigning, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be supporting all your rights." Blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah.
And of course, like every other.
No, he promised to protect him.
Yeah.
We actually dig up a clip on that one.
Yeah, but like every other politician, he's just going back on his word. He got elected. Now he says, "Fuck you."
Yeah, pretty much. But it's not like it's an overabundance of voters that are going to give him grief anyway. So, but anyway, the thing is like the military does have that right to determine who's going to be in the military and what stuff they're going to be paying for. And I've seen both sides of this come from numerous different people. Military support it, military that don't support it, people. Now, one of the big things I saw, and this one I found kind of interesting, of all the people whining about it, the largest majority of them have never served in the military or never been involved in the military.
Yeah, but that's... You're going to get that with anything that has to do with the military. You're always going to get people who have never served and don't understand what it's like to serve to start beaking off. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that piss me off the most because they don't know what it takes to wear the fucking uniform.
That's right. Now, while I never served, I grew up in a military family, so I understand what it takes to serve.
You've got an inkling.
No, I've got more than an inkling.
Well, until you've served, and this is no slight on you or anybody else who hasn't served, but until you have served...
I won't have full understanding.
No one will have full understanding until, you're pulled away from your family at a moment's notice. And, the family knows what it's like to have that person pulled away and know that they're going into imminent danger. But to be pulled away and said, okay, now we're sending you into the shit. This is what we're paying you for. Now it's time to do your job.
Absolutely.
So,
off you go.
Okay, so let's move on.
We'll move on here.
Let's move back to Canada here.
What are we coming to Canada for?
The world needs to stop mindlessly fawning over Justin Trudeau.
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, please. He's a bigger asshole than his father was. But this article says, for a second, it almost seemed as though Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau might be capable of getting a sentence or two of bad press in the United States. Earlier this month, news of the scandal currently consuming Trudeau's prime ministership, his decision to preemptively settle civil suit with a Canadian-born ex-Guantanamo Bay detainee Omar Khadr for $8 million, that's U.S. funds, has begun to slowly trickle into the U.S. headlines. Luckily, Rolling Stone was able to rush to his rescue this week. I'm never reading Rolling Stones again, with a fawning cover story by Stephen Roderick, musing wistfully about a nation led by a man who wore a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy t-shirt on national television, rides a unicycle, and welcomed 40,000 Syrian refugees. They're not refugees, they're fucking immigrants. Refugees,
migrant workers, man.
Refugees flee to the closest, safest country. After that, they're immigrants.
They're migrants after that. Immigrants, migrants.
It goes on to go, Roderick's piece was more typical of the coverage Trudeau received south of the border in the pre-Khadr weeks, which has been dominated by stories such as the socks he wore while meeting the leader of Ireland, documented by HuffPost alongside 11 photos of Justin Trudeau kissing his wife instead of you. His appearance on Live with Kelly and Ryan, where Trudeau stoically refused to strip, his man-spreading cover for Sky magazine, demonstrating his clear path to the hottest leader in the world, said TMZ, and a viral video of him hugging a unicorn puppet. If this doesn't make your day drastically better, we don't know what will, promised Elle. Oh my God, fuck. this stuff is like a natural laxative.
Yeah. Well, you know.
In 2010, Qatar pleaded guilty in Guantanamo military court to killing U.S. Sergeant Christopher Speer during a firefight in Afghanistan, along with other terrorism charges, as part of a plea deal with the United States. Because Qatar was Canadian by birth, though he lived barely any of his life in that country, and a teen when he killed Speer, his journey through the U.S. wartime justice system was complicated and controversial, and a few months before his guilty plea, the Canadian Supreme Court ruled that his constitutional rights, which is bullshit because he doesn't have any constitutional rights, had been violated. In 2015, Qatar left president, and this month it was revealed that Trudeau administration had quietly elected to pay him $8 million US to dodge further litigation. Okay, he pled guilty to being a terrorist, and we're paying this fucker. $10.5 million Canadian to a terrorist.
Yes.
Which ties us into the next story I want to bring up.
Okay.
Breaking the U.S. CIA to investigate Justin Trudeau for supporting ISIS.
Oh, cool. I don't have that link, but I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now this does go back a bit. They start off with saying, I found this news article and I'm curious why nothing is being said about the story in Canadian news or the CIA findings. The story was posted December 20th, 2015, so it's not like there hasn't been enough time to have learned something. 3 communities in the House of Representatives announced Friday that they were launching concurrent investigations into allegations that Canadian Prime Minister deliberately manipulated intelligence reports from Syria and Iraq, allowing the Islamic State group to thrive. According to the Washington Examiner, the Republican reps Ken Calvert of California, Mike Pompeo of Kansas, Brad Wenstrup of Ohio will lead the investigation for the Armed Services Committee, Intelligence Committee, and the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee, respectively. They have a link to the rest of the article. Now, if you don't say he's supported terrorism, check out the last thing we just talked about. He fucking paid $10.5 million to a terrorist.
Yes.
Okay. This man is guilty of collusion. He's guilty of treason, and so is Qatar. He should be removed from office. He should be tried for treason, and he should be shot.
And even better, another story to add to the mess here. Justin is donating $20 million of taxpayer funds to the Clinton Foundation. Yay! We know how well they spend their money.
Yay. Fuck, and yet our own troops who struggle to get their meds, who struggle to get a new wheelchair, who struggle to get what they need,
well, maybe
are
they
being
get it
screwed
from
over.
The Clinton Foundation. The money's being donated to the Clinton Health Access Initiative.
So let's tie this in with our in-service.
Our what?
Our in-service.
In service.
Yeah. Our category for in-service.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
Let me go look at that.
Yeah, there's 3 stories in there that I've put up. Go back.
There we go. All right.
Um.
We'll bring this mess forward.
So
Remember, folks, this is a show on the fly, for the fly, who's sitting on the wall, watching the sky fall.
yeah, we've got 3 stories in the in-service category, and one of them deals directly with what we were just talking about, the fact that our service members can't get the help that they need. The first Afghan mission soldier to die by suicide will be honored with a memorial cross. It's
nice.
taken this fucking long, 13 years.
13 years, wow.
And his family had pressed about answers about his death. And after 6-month global mail investigation, the military is acknowledging the soldier ended his life as a result of his deployment and is reversing its initial refusal to recognize his service. We lose so many troops when they come home to suicide.
Yes.
These men and women cannot get the help that they need because Veterans Affairs, they are actually given a bonus for every case they turn down. Did you know that?
So I've been told.
Every time they refuse a vet benefits, they get a bonus.
Yeah.
This young lad served in Afghanistan, was suffering with PTSD, ended up taking his own life. Okay, he was a 22-year-old rifleman with the 3rd Battalion of the Royal Canadian Regiment.
Yep.
He'd been back from Afghanistan for less than 3 months when he ended his life on May 8th, 2004, just hours before he was supposed to board a flight to Thunder Bay, Ontario to be with his family on Mother's Day. The military denied that his suicide was because of his service.
That sucks.
They finally relented after public pressure, and thank you to the public for doing this. Public pressure made them reverse their decision. You know, this family can now move on and start to put their lives back together. There's another story of a 67-year-old veteran who was kicked out of a Moncton hospital with nowhere to go. He was in the hospital. He's legally blind. He's in a wheelchair. And they took the security took him and his belongings and put them out on a fucking sidewalk. His house is being renovated because of his settlement with VA, but it won't be ready for a week. He was in hospital for 2 years and 4 months while social workers were trying to help him find a new home. He was admitted after a social worker found him unconscious at his home. At first, King said he tried to get a spot in a senior's home, but it was finally decided by Veterans Affairs they would renovate his house to make it wheelchair accessible so he could continue living there. Okay?
Nice.
Finally, you know. He said he was told that the work would begin next Monday and the house would be ready in a week's time. That's why the discharge from the hospitals on Friday came as a huge shock, he said. They say I've been here too long. King said he asked the hospital staff if he could stay 1 more week while he waited for his house to be ready. He said the hospital declined and suggested he stay in a hotel instead. But King, who's on disability pension from the armed forces, said that's not something he can afford. And it's not. Especially thanks to Harper clawing back the veterans' benefits.
Yeah.
The CEO of the Volante Health Network, Froggy Froggenstein, said he cannot comment on the specific cases. But he said the hospital would never put anyone out who requires medical attention on the street. Like, bullshit, you did. It does have a happy ending, though. The Royal Canadian Legion actually did something right for a change.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, wow. What'd they do right?
Since we spoke to King earlier on Friday, members from the Moncton branch of the Royal Canadian Legion picked him up from the sidewalk outside the hospital. They're putting him up in a hotel for a week until his house is ready, and are willing to provide care for him during that time. Meanwhile, Veterans Affairs said they were working with the provincial health authorities to make sure that this veteran's needs are met. Bullshit! If you were doing that, then he never would have been kicked out in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, a 67-year-old veteran is kicked out of a hospital because he's been there too long. 1 more week is not going to break the fucking bank here, kids. And this next story, Veterans Advocate rallies for Torbrook woman. This woman was in the military. Now, I don't know how many of you know this, but in the Canadian military, you're forced to take part in PT, which could be something that a game that you've never done before, like whether it be floor hockey, dodgeball, ice hockey, swimming, you know. It doesn't matter. They're going to tell you what you're doing. This young lady, Leah Green, was 36 years old, a private. She couldn't find the support she needed from the military, and she turned to Barry Westholm, a national veterans advocate. Now, Westholm, okay, let's give you a little bit of history about Westholm. Westholm made headlines last year after his resignation from the Joint Personal Support Unit, the JPSU, and more recently, his break with the Conservative Party, openly criticizing the government for its poor treatment of ill and injured military personnel. The reason I want to bring up this story is not only to show you all the shit treatment that veterans get, but also to convey my condolences to Leah Green's family. She passed away because she couldn't get the help. You know, it sucks. She was forced to play I just want to find
Floor
it here.
hockey.
Yes. Forced to play floor hockey. She was playing the game for the first time when she accidentally twisted her back. She pulled back to take a shot that was blocked by another player. The force of the blocked motion wrenched her lower back and severely impacted the vertebrae. She said, I was the only female playing, but I loved it. She said, I knew I was hurt real bad, but I kept going. I didn't want to admit I was injured. Later at work, I was trying to cook the asparagus and I couldn't hold myself up.
Yeah.
Folks, if you're injured, do something about it. Don't let it get worse.
Absolutely.
You know, you think you're being tough, you think you're being brave. You're actually being stupid. You're hurting yourself more. She toughed it out. I found out about her through a friend of mine. I really want to plug this, so I'm going to post this group to our Facebook page. It's called Send Up the Count. It's a group of veterans. We're there. If you need to talk, there's usually somebody on 24/7. If you could chat to these people, I will add the link when I get home. But we're there. There's always someone there to talk to. If you need to reach out, there's someone there. Somebody will reach out to you. All chat logs are then deleted. So there's no worries. There's a lot of worry among veterans who are suicidal that this is going to get reported. Our serving members, this is going to get reported. No, we're there to help you to make sure that you're okay. We don't care about your unit. We don't care what your unit does. So we're not going to tell them.
There you go.
And it's, again, on Facebook, it's called Send Up the Count. Also, you know, there's Wounded Warriors Canada that do a lot for veterans with PTSD. And there's also the Camp Praxis group. Camp Praxis provides counseling services and training so that a veteran and their spouse learn to communicate again and learn how to recognize the bad days of the PTSD. It's done at completely no cost to the veteran or their family. They provide airfare, food, lodging, childcare. I can speak to this myself. They've done it for me. So after that, let's move on to sex.
Sex. All right.
Okay. So this is what happens to your body when you stop having sex. Number 3 makes me really scared, apparently. Well, a healthy sex life is not only ensures a good mood, but when you stop having sex, you get sick more often. If you don't have sex for a long time, your immune system becomes significantly weaker. Germs then have an easier job of spreading in your body and can catch a cold or get the flu more easily. So, just by having more sex, you can help keep your herbal remedy teas in the closet.
That's where they belong, in the closet.
When you stop having sex, your stress level increases. Sex is a great way to reduce your stress levels. Regular sex reduces the amount of stress hormones and makes you feel more relaxed in everyday life. Without this important balance, you could become a ticking time bomb. When you stop having sex, it's harder for you to get aroused. It's hard to believe, but true. If you don't regularly practice, it's difficult for a lot of people to become aroused. Men can experience problems having erections, and it can be harder for women to have an orgasm. So, you have to stay on top of things and make sure the switch always remains on. When you stop having sex, your dreams change. Some people suddenly notice that they have strange dreams when their sex life is suffering. It can't mean that you unexpectedly start dreaming about sex or have orgasms in your sleep. Or it can mean that you do, rather. Number 5. This is the one that scares me. Over time, you lose your desire to have sex. If your body notices that you're having a prolonged dry spell in the sexual sense, the production of sex hormones reduces. Feel less like having sex if you've been abstinent for a while. In addition, your libido will eventually feel different. And this is all due to the fact that your sex hormones are slowly vanishing. When you stop having sex, you'll feel more distance between your partner and yourself. When a couple in a relationship only rarely sleep together, their interpersonal distances become greater. You may start to have feelings of uncertainty related to your partner, and other people will seem more attractive to you. Number 7, it lowers your feeling of self-worth. It is not surprising that a person's self-worth is harmed. That individual does not regularly feel desired, but a lack of sex has been proven to affect a person's well-being, leading to sadness or depression when sex is absent from their lives. Studies have shown that having sex regularly helps fight depression. It can sometimes even work as well as antidepressants. That one I like.
Yeah, that one's it. That's a good one.
Number 8 scares the shit out of me because cancer runs rampant in my family. You increase your risk of cancer. For men, the risk of prostate cancer increases when they don't have sex for longer periods of time. So it's not a bad idea for men to flush out the pipes because the risk is significantly reduced. Well, if this isn't motivating enough, then I don't know what is. For all these reasons, it would be almost irresponsible not to make love more regularly, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Number 8 actually does scare the crap out of me. Cancer is running rampant in my family. And, this is just not somebody saying, oh, well, I'm going to make up a list of reasons. This is actually backed up by scientific data.
Cool.
Unfortunately, they don't link it here on the iCreativeIt.am. But I've read this before, and it's actually based on scientific fact. So, if you want to kill off your partner, just stop sleeping with them.
There you go. Save time.
Hundreds of women just freed their nipples across the world. Have you heard of the free the nipple?
Vic pops up from time to time.
Okay. Have you heard of Amber Rose?
Oh yeah, the slut walk.
Yeah.
You can't miss that one.
Okay. I actually agree with this whole free the nipple thing.
Let them run free. Eventually people get tired of looking at them.
Men can post pictures on Facebook topless, nothing's done. Women post a topless picture and they're banned for 3 days because they showed a nipple. What women are doing is they're photoshopping a male nipple onto their breasts. Yeah, photoshopping in quotes, folks. But more and more women are starting to free the nipple. They're starting to say, look, and this is one right that should be equal. If I can walk around topless, so can any woman. I don't do it because I'm so white it's not funny. I mean, I fry like bacon. But women should have the right to walk around topless.
They should have. Did you know that once upon a time, men couldn't walk around topless?
Yes. That's scary. Men
had to fight for the right to go topless.
Yeah. And,
And it wasn't all that long ago. Only the late 1930s.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell, people? As a photographer who specializes in boudoir and artistic nude photography, I have to be so careful what I put up on Facebook to highlight my work. But, if it's of a guy, you could show the nipple. If it's of a woman, you can't even show the crack of her ass without her running the risk of getting banned for 3 days.
Yeah.
Because Mark Zuckerberg is so anally retentive and sexually repressed, he thinks women's nipples are a threat.
He does.
Yeah, and they tell you, you can't post pictures of women's nipples. Hello, I like that picture. Damn. That's a good angle for her.
That is.
That is. So, let's go on from there.
All right.
To what the left hand is doing.
What the left hand is doing.
Yes, you'll like some of these. There's 2 links in here.
It's not having nearly as much fun as the right hand.
No, apparently not. And
which one are we going to start with?
well, let's start with John Robertson, why there are almost no shelters for male victims, and why is asking that question so controversial?
This brings us to some MRA stuff. All right.
Oh,
we can jump
yes.
right in here.
I knew you would like this one.
Yeah.
So, and speaking as a man who had been beaten by his wife because she knew I would never hit back, being verbally and emotionally abused, you know, anybody who says, "Oh, men don't get abused," they're full of shit.
They're full of shit.
I'll give you 6 months with my ex-wife.
They don't get abused as often as women, but they get abused.
Actually, they do.
Do they?
They do.
I thought it was like 4 out of 5 women or something, and then 3 out of 5 men.
No, it's not as reported as much.
Oh, it's hardly ever reported.
Yeah.
Because if a man reports it, then there's something wrong with it.
So, John
That's the way it goes.
Robson, okay, says at the start of his article, "Do you believe that men need help today? If so, we should do lunch. Specifically this Sunday, I'll be speaking at the opening of the Canadian Association for Equality
Cafe.
at the Ottawa Centre for Men and Families." Yes, folks, you heard that right. The Ottawa Centre for Men and Families. Okay. Ottawa's first multi-service hub for the health and well-being of boys, men, fathers, and families. It's May 28th at Biago's Italian Kitchen in Richmond, on Richmond Road at 2 o'clock. And I hope you'll contribute and, if in the area, attend, because surely such a thing is desirable. Now,
Well, you would think, but
when you bring up the fact that there's no battered men's shelter, people, well, they don't need one. Yeah, they do. You know, because you can't always go to a friend's place.
that's right.
Because most of your friends are married.
Usually.
And when you go over there and you tell them, "Man, my wife beat the out of me," they're either going to ridicule you, or their wives are going to ridicule you, or report back to your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's so much stigma attached to spouse abuse when it comes to the male. You know, if we strike back, then we're a piece of shit.
Yep.
If we sit there and let them beat on us, then we're not men.
Yep.
So
Catch
we're
22.
we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. You know, my doctor finally said to me, "You know, you have this self-defense training. You have the knowledge to stop this." I said, "But I won't ever hit a woman in anger. I won't even hit one in self-defense." He goes, "No, but you can block." And
but then they'll hurt themselves on you while you're blocking.
that's what happened. My second wife, after I decided to start blocking, she turned around and said, "Now I've got bruises. I can claim battery." And I said, "Go ahead, because you know what? My doctor's documented everything that you've done to me. The police have a file on you already. And, you know, the time that you broke my nose and gave me 2 black eyes, they've got pictures of that." So I blew that case out of the water. And of course, you know, with the equal rights and everything, she still got custody of the kids.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, if you can go and hear this man speak, go and hear him speak, follow him. This story comes to us from the National Post, which isn't quite as biased as some of the other stuff out there. Like, the Sun is extremely right-wing. The Star is more left-wing. The National Post tries to ride that center line. Now that we've got you all fucking paranoid and scared about what's going to happen to you the next time you beat your husband, the next article is, "This is how your fear and outrage are being sold for profit."
Yay, all you social justice warriors selling your soul.
Yeah. So, the story of how one metric has changed the way you see the world. And it's got a picture of a newspaper, the news feed. "This is why you should be angry. Click here to feel righteous about it." Aw, look at this nice thing that agrees with your worldview perfectly.
Click here.
And why you should be afraid. Click here to learn about something terrifying that will statistically never happen to anyone you know. And even your Facebook is doing this, folks.
Oh, absolutely.
Those suggested ads, your friends are clicking on them, your friends are sharing these things to you, and they're going, "Oh my God, this is so outrageous. So-and-so should be impeached, so-and-so should be fucking shot, blah, 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 blah." Look, Okay? I do it. Trudeau should be fucking tried. That's my outrage.
Yeah. Very good
And
outrage, but outrage.
Whether or not it's warranted, I'm trying to sway other people's view to mine by explaining why this man should be tried for treason. He's colluded with the enemy. He's paid off the enemy. He's given financial support to the enemy. And if you don't think the Islamic State is the enemy, then you really need to pull your head out of the ass. Now, that being said, I'm not saying all Muslims are the enemy. Islam is not the enemy. The Islamic State, that extreme wing, it's like the KKK. You know?
Or anyone who believes the Torah the way people believe the Bible.
That they believe it's the actual word written by God. Yeah, God's got a printing press up in heaven, and he's got nothing better to do than just print off Bibles.
And Torahs.
And
God didn't write that.
Quran.
Muhammad wrote that. Yeah,
No,
Quran.
that's a Quran.
Yeah, Quran. That's what I meant. I meant to say the Quran. Not
But
the
it
Torah.
was the word of Allah that Muhammad wrote.
Ah, yeah, okay.
And God prints it all off and prints off the Torah, the Quran, and the Bible, and says, this is my word, you must believe it. And even the Bible itself, the different versions, disagree with one another. And they contradict each other. So, you can't believe everything that you read. Don't believe the mainstream media, because they're catering to fear-mongering. The story goes on. One evening in late October 2014, a doctor checked his own pulse and stepped onto a subway car in New York City. He had just returned home from a brief stint volunteering overseas, and he was heading to Brooklyn to meet some friends at a bowling alley. He was looking forward to his break. Earlier that day, he'd gone for a run around the city, grabbed a coffee on the High Line, and eaten at a local meatball shop, where he woke up. When he woke up the next day exhausted with a slight fever, he called his employer. Within 24 hours, he would become the most feared man in New York. His exact path through the entire city would be scrutinized by hundreds of people. The establishments he visited would be shuttered, and his friends and fiancé would be put into quarantine. Dr. Craig Spencer had contracted Ebola while he was treating patients in Guinea with Doctors Without Borders. He was not contagious until long after he was put into quarantine. He followed protocol to the letter in reporting his symptoms and posed no threat to anyone around him while he was in the public. He was a model patient, a fact readily shared by experts. The physical damage done by the disease itself was small. The hysteria, however...
You missed the paragraph here.
He did not stop at a medical explosion declaring an imminent apocalypse.
This did not stop a media explosion.
Oh, sorry.
Declaring an imminent apocalypse.
Yeah.
A frenzy of clickbait and terrifying narratives emerged as every major news entity raced to capitalize on the collective Ebola panic.
The physical damage done by the disease in itself was small. The hysteria, however, traveling instantly across the internet, shuttered schools, grounded flights, and terrified the nation. CNN, doctor in New York tests positive for Ebola. Omitted information. Experts say no threat to public. New York Times, doctor in New York City sick with Ebola. Quarantine before contagious, say experts. Omitted. Patient in New York City hospitals test positive for Ebola. Information that was omitted but was not contagious while in public. And your social media exploded around it. You all saw it come up in your Facebook feeds, your Twitter feeds. And if anyone still has MySpace, it probably went all over that.
Not only the bad bands have MySpace.
Yeah, well...
So here's a little bit more, one more good paragraph on it. Social media exploded around the topic, reaching 6,000 tweets per hour, leaving the CDC and public health officials scrambling to curtail the misinformation spreading in all directions. The fear traveled as widely as the stories reporting it. The emotional response and the media attached to it generated billions of impressions for the companies reporting on it.
So all of this was done just to get your money.
That's billions of ad revenue impressions is
Yeah.
what it was all about.
Yeah, and you pick up the paper that says, patient at New York City hospital tests positive for Ebola, and you're going to read that, and you're going to look at the ads and go, oh shit, there's a sale on at Macy's.
Yeah, pretty
You know,
much.
It just shows how much they count on you to get scared, to get outraged, to get all these emotions going to get your dollar. That's why the only source that you can rely on is the Cranky Old Bastard.
Yeah, that's us, guys.
No, that's me. That's the co-host. I'm the Cranky Old Bastard. My word is law.
Yeah, we won't go down that path tonight.
But read this entire article, folks. I'm sure you'll find it very interesting, those of you who can actually think for yourselves. And I know there's some of you out there that can. Not many, but some.
Yeah, it's starting to grow. More and more people are starting to think again.
I'm talking to our audience.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking to our audience too.
Okay. Now, let's continue on.
Obviously, they can think. They found this show.
Let's continue on something along the same lines. And you're going to love this.
Okay.
Microchipping.
Oh, God, yes. And that one there.
Her dilemma. Do I let my employer microchip me? Okay.
Is that one in our thing?
Yes, it is. It's down near the bottom.
Of the.
And it's
with the
fucking
left hand?
science.
With the left. Oh, and it's fucking science.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fucking science.
There we go. Fucking science. All right.
Okay, so
Let's bring that one up.
Melissa Timmons has a week to decide. Does she keep her hand to herself, or does she let her employer microchip her? The implant is the size of a grain of rice. It would slip under the skin between the forefinger and thumb. It would sting for only a second. Then she could unlock doors or log on to her computer with a wave. Her flesh could hold her credit card, her medical records, her passport. It could hold so much information.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was a joke, she said. She's 46 years old and works in sales at the Three Square Market, a Wisconsin company that makes vending machine software. The offer came after her boss returned from a business trip to Stockholm, where he encountered Biohacks Sweden, a startup that aims to endow body parts with technological power. Basically, what this company wants to do is after they've put a chip into all their employees, they want to chip you so that you can walk up to their vending machines and all your financial information is stored on this microchip, and you wave your hand over the microchip and you buy yourself a bottle of Pepsi.
Yes.
Because real people drink Coke. But anyways, this is their pitch. You know, make it easier. Wave your hand. Buy what you need.
This is the pitch for the controlling state to control your funds, to do away with cash, to have everything be electronic, and surprisingly, Australia is moving this direction very rapidly of every other country. They're moving forward faster than anyone else. And businesses are, of course, going to promote this as the wave of the future. You won't have to worry about anything. All your stuff will be in your hand. You won't have to worry about losing your wallet or your ID or anything and such and such. But what that doesn't take into account is we're talking about the grid here. The grid is not a stable thing. It's never, ever going to be a real stable thing. When the grid goes down, you can't access anything. The worst thing can happen, you piss off the wrong person who has the ability to turn off your funds. And if you don't believe that'll happen, go look up the number of people in the last month that have had their sources of revenue cut off because they pissed off the wrong person or they held the wrong political opinion.
Yeah. Now, this is all done through RFID, radio frequency identification chips. Now, anybody can go out and buy an RFID reader.
Yep.
So you get that chip. I walk up with my RFID reader, and you don't even realize that I now have all your banking information, and I've just taken your life savings.
And your ID and everything else.
Now, let's go on with the fear-mongering about your... But we're not going to talk about your financial information. Chump will know exactly where you've been, exactly what you bought, exactly when you're going to the bathroom. Okay, they're going to know everything about you, where you go, what you do. Yeah, they may not. Yeah, they're going to know. Hey, this guy's RFID chip is really, really close to this woman's RFID chip. They're either holding hands or they're doing something else.
Yeah.
Oh, the distance has changed. They're definitely doing something else. Okay, they're going to know what stores you visit, They're going to know what movies you see, what books you read, what stores you buy from. They're going to know which political rallies you go to, which non-political rallies you go to. You know, they're going to know everything about you. There will not be a secret anymore. James Orwell was ahead of his time when he wrote 1984. Yes, I know it's 2017, but everything that he predicted is coming true.
Oh, pretty much. And to add to this mess here, you've heard about the new store opening in Seattle, right? From Amazon?
No.
The Amazon Go store. This is the one here. This is one step below an implanted RFID chip. You go into this new Amazon Go store, and this Amazon Go store, you sign into the store with your smartphone. You have it Amazon app, you scan your phone as you walk in, and then everything you take off the shelves is automatically charged to your phone. If you put it back on the shelves, it's supposed to take it off the shelf. But there's no cashiers at all. Then you just walk out of the store.
Oh, how long do you think that's going to last before somebody turns around and fucks with the system?
Oh, probably not very long. But the point being is this is what they're trying to move everything towards. This is where they're trying to move the systems of total 100% monitoring, tracking of every single aspect of your life. And this is no bullshit anymore. It's no longer conspiracy theory crap. It's no longer the guys in tinfoil hats saying that they know everything about you. And it's an amazing amount of information they know about you. I actually kind of discovered it recently when I looked in my own credit reports and finally brought them up, and they had information I'd long since forgotten. You know, and it's there permanently, etched into the ether in some server farm in some part of the globe. Doesn't go away unless we destroy electricity.
Okay, so this ties in with our social justice warriors. So let's move on to that category.
All right, let's go in there.
Photos,
with the social justice warriors.
Photos from the Megalith.
Hang on a sec, I gotta get to this.
Okay. Okay, while you're looking...
Pull your pud. Something useful.
While you're looking for that, I'm going to go over to the other story in the same topic. Qualicum Beach finds dog groomer $300 for painted rock advertisements.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, let's start there.
Yeah, okay, there's a video clip to see this, okay? You'll need the Adobe Flash Player to watch it. But this woman picked up small rocks and painted the name of her business on it. Like a nice brightly colored rock, little paw prints, the name of her dog grooming business, and she put them around the city, and people fucking complained. She was fined $300, $100 per rock that they found.
Yes.
Saying that, and the
Come on, we got to read the bit. You got to read the bit here of what they said it was for, so we can really get into it.
First of all, you need a permit for signs. And second of all, if you put up a sign, it has to be on your own property. It said Luke Sales, Qualicum Beach Director of Planning. The town is also concerned that other businesses might see what Christensen is doing
you missed the best
and
line
try to
in
copy
here.
it. Well, hang on.
Okay.
What's that?
The one where they say that...
the rocks don't meet the town's policies?
No.
$100 for every offending rock?
He started off by saying the rocks were a hazard. That he's found the rocks on a sidewalk and they were a tripping hazard.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, and the rocks were probably there before they were painted. What made them more hazardous? That you could see them now?
Yeah, they're brightly colored. You can see them now.
You can see them now.
Yeah, if you hadn't been able to see them, you wouldn't have found it.
That's right.
You should be thanking this lady.
Yeah, she's making the rocks more visible.
Yeah, and if one woman says, I thought it was a really nice way to advertise, says Rena Weem of Belle Femme Boutique. It wasn't invasive.
Now, you gotta give the woman credit for creativity, man.
Exactly. You can't be creative in today's society, though.
That's the problem. The moment you get creative, they find a silly rule to slap you with it.
So Luke Sales goes on to say, little signs placed everywhere. Suddenly you're blind to signs, says Sales. On balance, it's designed to create the kind of community that people in Qualicum Beach want. You know what? I bet you if you were to ask the people of Kuala Lumpur Beach, the majority of them would say, hey, fuck, it's a wonderful idea. Why didn't somebody else think of this?
Yeah.
But because this woman showed some ingenuity and some creativeness, she's being punished.
Absolutely.
And it sucks, and I'm really ashamed to say that Kuala Lumpur Beach is here on the island, you know, and it pisses me off to see this shit.
Yep.
It guarantees that, you know, I'll never live in Kuala Lumpur Beach because I'm not going to support that kind of fucking community. Okay, so let's move on to what happens at Magaluf. Doesn't say in Magaluf anymore. And there's photos on Facebook page captured.
For those that don't know what Magaluf is the Vegas of Europe. It's in southern Spain. Spanish resort.
So there's a page on Facebook called the Mega Walk of Shame. It's a laugh, and have said most people were happy to feature. Hello. And as you scroll down, you're going to see some pictures of people doing the Walk of Shame.
Yes, the real Walk of Shame.
Some of them aren't wearing any clothes.
Which is the ultimate Walk of Shame.
Yeah. Well, not really. I mean, if you're comfortable walking around without clothes.
The Walk of Shame is the morning after, like, oh my God, what did I do last night? And how the hell do I get back to my room? Where the hell am I at? Where the fuck are my clothes?
That's society putting pressure on people.
No, it's the joke, man. That's the joke.
Well,
it's not about pressure. It's the joke. It's like the Walk of Shame. Everyone has done the Walk of Shame at least once in their life.
Well, actually, for me, it was the Run of Shame.
Run, walk, whatever you want to do. At any rate, this is an amusing website.
When a woman says to you, was I a good girl? Did I do good? You run out of there. You don't walk. You run.
Yeah.
You sprout wings and you fucking fly.
So anyway, this page here has some very interesting photos. I thought it would make a great joke, and it's actually quite entertaining to just wander through and look at all these poor souls that are enjoying themselves and having way too much fun.
Yeah. So, we're running out of stuff to talk about.
Well, we weren't overly prepared
okay,
this week.
Let's go into the feel-good category.
The feel-good category.
Yeah, something to make you actually feel good and say, you know, these guys aren't always so fucking negative, and they don't slam everybody. So let's pull up our feel-good.
All right.
The Game of Thrones fan changes Toronto area highway. Oh, hang on. I'm getting noise. Oh no, my ad blocker's on. The first story that I pulled up was about a hawk that's being raised by eagles in Sydney, British Columbia.
Okay.
They brought this nestling in, and you know it kind of got adopted by these bald eagles, and people have expected to see it gone or killed. But it's actually starting to think that it's an eagle. And it's acting like an eagle. So you've got the story up there. This is from Nat Geo. So not as biased as some, but you know.
National Geographic,
Yeah.
You know. Once upon a time they were amazing. Now they're just good.
Yeah. But yeah, this red-tailed hawk thinks it's a bald eagle. Now they're hoping that its genetics are going to kick in because soon the bald eagles are going to be leaving for the annual salmon runs. And while they might not go too far, some of them will go right up to Alaska.
Yeah.
And they're hoping that this hawk's genetics are going to kick in because other eagles will kill it on sight. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're hoping that they've noticed that it started swooping down and picking up pine cones and small rocks like most hawks do when they're learning to hunt. So they've got some good feelings for this. Hoping that this is going to actually turn out well. They're surprised that this hawk has lasted so long, but there's been an abundance of food, so its nestmates haven't killed it, but they have been bullying it.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Genetics, man. Genetics. Yeah. Genetics rule.
So, the next one that we have is from Toronto on the Highway 401. The Game of Thrones fans changed Toronto area highway sign to the Jon Snow Parkway. Now, for those of you that don't know, it's the James Snow Parkway, but someone has put up this sign, and it's got the Game of Thrones wolf head from the Stark House, and it says winter's coming, and it's got the name Jon Snow. Like John is covering the James, and it's the James Snow Parkway, and they've covered the sign to read Jon Snow Parkway. And apparently some people getting really confused about it because, well, that's the Jon Snow Parkway, not the James Snow Parkway.
Oh, people are dumb.
Yes. But it's on the eastbound 401, and they've changed it to say the Jon Snow Parkway. There's a video there. Jon Snow is one of the best loved characters in Game of Thrones.
Obviously, you're a Game of Thrones fan.
Yeah.
We should bring up here.
He's Ned Stark's bastard child.
And if you don't know this information already, you're living under a fucking rock, and you haven't at least watched the first season of Game of Thrones or heard your friends incessantly go on about it. So,
it's, you know what? It's far better than...
Read the books. They're much better.
It's far better than fucking World of Warcraft.
It has nothing to do. One has nothing to do with
Sure it is.
The
one is an entertaining show. The other one is a waste of fucking money.
Either way.
It's like Game of War or...
Either way, they're all a waste of money. It doesn't really matter. It's letting your brain escape to someplace.
Yes.
Is all it is.
And this is cute. I think it's really cute that someone's gone through this.
And it's funny that people can't figure out that it's a joke.
Yeah.
And don't seem to understand that isn't the way a highway sign would actually look if it was done by the government, because they wouldn't put up a black piece of tape over partial white letters that you can still see.
Well, this is Ontario, where you pay multi-million dollars for a month's hydro.
Yeah.
So our last one in the feel-good category, and this actually does make me feel good. It's about a group of 5th graders who pulled together and protect a bully classmate who's got special needs. These kids pulled together and helped protect this boy with special needs, became friends with him, have included him in all their activities, and they went so far as to buy this kid a video game system so that he could have his friends over for video, because the kid didn't have video games.
Cool.
So these kids banded together. They raised some money and saved their allowances and everything and bought the special needs kid some video games. And his mom actually broke down in tears the first time they all came over to play video games with him. But these kids are 5th graders. You don't see this type of action from 5th graders. And I think it's fantastic. Kudos to their parents for raising their kids right. Kudos to these kids who stick up for this boy. It's a great little story. Run the video.
Run the video?
Run the video.
All right, run the video. Waiting. Oh,
It's like
there it is.
All the students at Franklin Elementary start every day with the pledge.
Indivisible.
But the justice for all part belongs to 5 fifth-grade boys.
Why pick on someone who has special needs? Yeah.
They're talking about James Wilman,
Is
who learns a little differently
was
than most of the other 5th graders,
coins. They're like using them
which, it turns out,
and taking advantage of them.
can get a guy teased.
Coins because he's easier to pick on, and this is not right.
Which is why Gus, Tyler, Landon, Jake, and Jack decided this year to have James's back.
It really kind of makes you proud to be their teacher.
Mallory Houck says the school's anti-bullying lessons must have struck a chord.
Landon,
But this has gone beyond even her expectations.
thank you.
James's mom's, too.
He used to not want to go out for recess or anything. It would be like a struggle. And now he can barely eat his lunch to get outside to play with those guys.
Play and learn.
He has a notebook with over 600 teams of college.
Gustavus Adolphus. That's how much he likes sports. Nebraska.
They learned, too, that James was adopted from an orphanage in Columbia, and that 6 years later he lost his new father in a bicycle accident.
And we just got a basketball hoop last week because he now loves basketball. I mean, they're changing him.
And they're still not done.
We're like, do you have any sports games? And he was like, no, I don't have any video game systems. So that's when I came up with the idea.
With some of their own money and some from their parents, the boys recently delivered to James video games and a new PlayStation.
Every one of them was smiling like crazy.
The first time friends had ever come to play with James.
I'll never forget it. Never.
Jack, what? You tie my shoe. Yep.
Indivisible.
He's an awesome kid to hang out with.
You're too fast! MVP! Boom! Touchdown! Woo!
All of these guys are the best friends anybody could ask for.
No Franklin fifth grade friends have ever pledged allegiance like the James gang.
It's my 12th touchdown. All of you guys.
There you go.
So yeah, that's
One
a feel
happy,
good.
feel good thing.
Yeah. So that's, I think, pretty much all we've got listed for. But let's go to our Facebook page.
Oh, sure.
Oh, actually, no. Before we do that, we've got one thing on global warming.
Global warming.
Yeah.
What do we have on global warming?
The Canadian Supreme Court says no to an oil company. And you won't find this on Canadian news sites. This comes to me from Maori television in New Zealand. Okay. The Supreme Court of Canada has ruled oil and gas exploration off the coast of an isolated Inuit hamlet in northern Canada.
Okay.
Has overruled. Clyde River locals have been fighting for 4 long years to keep oil and gas companies out of their waters. The Inuit hamlet, located on the shore of Baffin Islands, Patricia Bay, north of Canada, is standing in solidarity against oil and gas exploration. Greenpeace climate campaigner Mike Smith says it's a huge step forward for Indigenous people. But basically, the Inuit community has been fighting oil and gas exploration off their shores.
Yeah.
The oil company took them to court. And they won. Then the Inuits won. Then the oil company. Finally, the Supreme Court of Canada has overruled oil and gas exploration. So they said to them, no. Which is fantastic. I honestly think it's a great move that they did. And
Yeah, it's a good move.
yeah, it is. There's a video there. But it had to come to us from Maori news in New Zealand.
Yeah, well, it's because our media wouldn't cover something
No.
like this.
Oh, after that video about the boy with special needs, I was looking at the little video clips on the side, and there's a story there. It's going to take me 30 seconds to read the story for you.
Okay.
The Newport, Oregon Police Department was recently alerted to a cat who appeared to be armed, possibly with a semi-automatic weapon, and had
God.
situated itself high in a tree.
That's old.
Oh, I know
That's
it's
an
old, but
story, man. I've seen that one a dozen times.
oh,
in my
it's
Facebook.
hilarious.
It
I
is
mean,
quite
come on,
hilarious.
people.
It just shows the amount of fear that is out there in the world
Yeah.
today, and that the massive capitalization of the fear, as we discussed earlier.
So, now you posted on our Facebook page 22 funny little differences between women and men.
Oh, all right. Let's go find that and bring it up, just because.
Yeah.
First, I got to get to our Facebook page.
You should have had it already loaded. You should have our Facebook page always loaded and going.
Blow me.
You only wish it'd be the best blowjob you ever had.
Well, at least it'd be a blowjob. All right.
So,
Here we go. Cranky Old Bastard Facebook page. Oh, how about this one? The day the penis asked for a
we'll
raise.
cover that next. So, the battle of the sexes wages on. Does it? You know, it has for a while now. There's a ton of assumptions we all make about each other. Usually, it's along the lines of guys are simple, women are complex. And while I know a lot of us prove this from time to time, I'm sure there's another way we can phrase it. I'd say men aren't simple, they're efficient. And women aren't complex, they're intricate.
Same
That
thing.
works, right?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Man. Same thing.
Well, whatever you take on the matter is, you can't deny these funny little differences between guys and gals.
All right.
Getting ready in the morning. 7 a.m. wake up. By 7 to 10, the guy's had a shit, shower, shave, shampoo, dressed, and out the door.
Yep.
Woman gets up at 7. Well, then she's got to brush her teeth and pose, I guess. And
sit around in their undies for a while and stare at the clothes in the closet.
By 9:30, she's finally ready to go to work.
Yeah, that's about right.
2. And what we'll wear for the day, depending on the event, of course. What do we wear?
Men?
Men. For cocktails, funeral, job interview, wedding, church, graduation, same suit.
Same suit works for all of it.
Yep.
Man.
Women.
Love that, man.
Cocktail dresses, a black funeral dress, job interview, business suit, wedding, a formal gown, church, Volkswagen seat covers, graduation, off the shoulder little number.
There you go. Different dress every time.
Yeah. When we know we'll see each other, what girls do when they get ready and get messages from a crush that he's coming soon to visit her. Well, we got to touch up our hair, we got to do our makeup, we got to curl our eyelashes and put lipstick on. What guys do when they get a message from a crush that she's coming
over?
Yeah.
Clean the beer bottles up, man.
Yeah, pick the beer bottles up, joke with your buddies, fuck around. And when we won't see each other. How guys think it will be after breaking up. Women all over the place.
Yeah.
How girls think it will be after breaking up. They're sitting alone in a park. In reality, the guy's sitting at home with pizza boxes, playing video games, and what the fuck? And in reality, the girls are out partying.
That's right. It's pretty much true, I would say. All right, next up.
Girls checking men out. In the compact, looking at them. Ooh. Guys checking out girls. Damn!
That's pretty much
But,
it.
this one I have to disagree with.
Yeah.
Well,
Nowadays, women are more ballsy about it.
Well, no. My girlfriend would turn around to me, oh, check out that girl. Fuck, she's hot.
Well, there you go.
How'd you like to do her? Okay, would you rather do her or her?
It saves you having to snap your head everywhere.
Exactly. She's saving me from whiplash. 6, how we impress one another.
This one here. How to impress one another. How to impress a woman. Compliment her. Cuddle her. Kiss her. Caress her. Love her. Comfort her. Protect her. Hug her. Hold her. Spend money on her. Wine and dine her. Listen to her. Care for her. Stand by her. Support her. Go to the ends of the earth for her. All right, you got all that? The list probably goes on. How to impress a man. Show up naked, bring beer.
No, I don't want beer.
Coke, whatever.
Show up naked and bring chapstick. Because you're going to need it.
Whatever. It doesn't matter what comes after show up naked. It's just to show up naked.
Pretty much, yeah. Show up naked. When it comes to the art of seduction, how to turn a guy on.
Light switch.
How to turn a girl on. Fucking, that's Mission to the Moon.
It's like the Mission to the Moon central panel. And that's pretty much it. You really got to look at this picture because it nails it quite well.
Okay. Remember we talked about that video from the shoe company? Where we have to pay so much for the best haircuts.
Oh yeah, best haircuts insane. Okay.
On the subject of haircuts, getting a haircut for men. Before, he looks like a fucking mop. After, he still needs a haircut. He pays $15.
Looks like
Women, before, after, pays $275, and it looks the fucking same. And then they get pissed off at us because they expect us to notice.
Yeah.
Do you notice anything?
Your shoes are fine?
You're wearing clothes? You didn't show up naked? And of course, what products to use on her hair? How women choose shampoo. And it's got a whole pie graph here of effectiveness, brand, smell, what it does to the hair, ingredients, color, quality, design, recommendations, reviews, quantity, and popularity. How men choose shampoo. It says shampoo.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I choose mine usually. It says shampoo and it's cheap.
And then this picture of when we break our nails. When a woman breaks her nails, it's the end of the world. Damn, I broke a nail. Oh, no. Guys break a nail. Fuck it. And unless it you break it and it rips right down the side.
And it's painful.
Yeah. And then it's like, fuck it.
Then it's a fuck it face of pain. when it comes to social media.
Yes, when don't go on Facebook for a week, you get one notice for guys. Women, they got 86 friends requests, 93 private messages, and 8 notifications.
Yeah, about right.
Yeah.
The hazards of being a woman.
Or writing a personal diary. I'm going to let you read her journal.
I will read this one. Her diary. Tonight, I thought my husband was acting weird. We had made plans to meet at a nice restaurant for dinner. I was shopping with my friends all day long, so I thought he was upset at the fact that I was a bit late, but he made no comment on it. Conversation wasn't flowing, so I suggested that we go somewhere quiet so we could talk. He agreed, but he didn't say much. I asked him what was wrong. He said nothing. I asked him if it was my fault that he was upset. He said he wasn't upset, that it had nothing to do with me and not to worry about it. On the way home, I told him I loved him. He smiled slightly and kept driving. I can't explain his behavior. I don't know why he didn't say I love you too when we got home. I felt as if I had lost him completely, as if he wanted nothing to do with me anymore. He just sat there quietly and watched TV. He continued to seem distant and absent. Finally, with silence all around us, I decided to go to bed. About 15 minutes later, he came to bed, but I still felt he was distracted and his thoughts were somewhere else. He fell asleep. I cried. I don't know what to do. I'm almost sure that his thoughts are with someone else. My life is a disaster. His diary. Motorcycle won't start. Can't figure out why.
It's true.
That would occupy a man's mind for hours.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm going to put up another link in the Feel Good, but I'm going to read this out because it ties in the men's rules for women. Okay? Learn to work the toilet seat. You're a big girl. If it's up, put it down. We need it up, you need it down. You don't hear us whining about you leaving it down. Sometimes we're not thinking about you. Live with it. Saturdays equal sports. Crying is blackmail.
Yep.
Ask for what you want. Subtle hints don't work. Strong hints don't work. Obvious hints do not work. Just say it.
Yep.
We don't remember dates. Mark them on the calendar and remind us frequently. Yes and no are perfectly acceptable answers to almost every question. Come to us with a problem only if you want help solving it. That's what we do. Sympathy is what your girlfriends are for. Check your oil, please. Anything we said 6 months ago is inadmissible in an argument. In fact, all comments become null and void after 7 days. If you think you're fat, you probably are. Don't ask us. We refuse to answer that question anymore. It's a loaded question. Honey, do these pants make my ass look fat? No, your fat ass makes your ass look fat. Okay? If something we said can be interpreted 2 ways, and one way makes you feel sad or angry, we meant the other one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let us look. It doesn't hurt anyone to look, and for us, it's genetic. Whenever possible, please save whatever you have to say during the commercials. Christopher Columbus did not need directions, and neither do we. Well, he did, actually, but the Vikings didn't need directions, neither do we. All men see in only 16 colors. Peach, for example, is a fruit, not a color. We have no idea what mauve is.
Absolutely.
We are not mind readers, and we never will be. This is my personal favorite. If we ask what's wrong and you say nothing, we will believe you. We will act as if nothing is wrong. We know you're full of shit, but we're going to act like nothing's wrong. When we have to go somewhere, absolutely anything you wear is fine. You have enough clothes. You have too many shoes. It's neither in your best interest or ours to take that quiz together. No, it doesn't matter which quiz. Beer is as exciting for us as handbags are for you. Thank you for reading this. Yes, I know I have to sleep on the couch tonight, but did you know we really don't mind that? It's like camping for us. That's a good picture. I like that picture that you got up there.
Yeah, well, little eye candy for our people watching on YouTube.
Okay, so let's go back to our 22 funny differences between men and women.
Oh, we finished those.
No, we didn't. We're still on number
The rest
13.
the rest of them were not as funny, man.
Oh, okay.
They're just,
Well,
we'll
fine
let them
then.
go.
Fine. Be that way.
The piece you read out was much funnier.
The day the penis asked for a raise. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. Let's bring it up. All right, the day the penis asked for a raise. I, the penis, hereby request a raise in salary for the following reasons. I do physical labor. I work in great depths. I plunge head first into everything I do. I do not get weekends or public holidays off. I work in damp, dark environment with very high temperatures and poor ventilation. My work often exposes me to contagious disease. Sincerely, penis. And the response from HR, Dear Penis, after assessing your request and considering the arguments you have raised, the administration rejects your request for the following reasons. You do not work 8 hours straight. You fall asleep after brief work periods. You do not always follow the orders of the management team. You do not stay in your designated area and are often seen visiting other locations. You do not take initiative. You need to be pressured and stimulated in order to start working. You leave the workplace rather messy at the end of your shift. You don't always observe necessary safety precautions, such as wearing the correct protective clothing. You will retire before you are at 65. You are unable to work double shifts. You sometimes leave your designated work area before you have completed the assigned task. And if that weren't enough, you have been seen constantly entering and exiting the workplace carrying 2 suspicious-looking bags. Sincerely, Vagina. There you go. I found it amusing. It's cute. It's pointless, but it's funny.
Okay, so what are these
What are we after here?
these blue collar logic videos?
Oh,
You posted a shitload of these.
That's because they were interesting, and I found them quite fascinating, especially the ones, let's welcome to the pity party. Let's play one, just for fun. Off we go.
I've attended a couple thousand AA meetings. There's an expression that you'll hear that describes wallowing in the problem rather than getting into the solutions. It's called a pity party. Self-pity is kryptonite to a recovering addict. 7 of the 12 steps deal with admitting that you are the problem. It's understood that until an alcoholic or drug addict accepts personal responsibility for his life and his failures, he is doomed to keep repeating the cycle. And of course we have the enablers. Everybody knows an enabler. Enablers are so much a part of the addiction story that they have their own 12-step groups. An addict has a genius for finding enablers and manipulating them into service. Of course, the enabler is also using the addict. Each is getting something from the other that he or she needs. It takes courage to stand up to an addict that you love, to break the cycle of dependence, knowing that he may hate you for a while. That's a hard thing. It's also hard to admit that you can't save him, that only he can save himself. We live in a society in love with the idea of salvation. And in our dominant religions, we're either praising a savior or waiting for one. Our books and movies are full of cliffhangers where the mighty hero shows up in the nick of time and saves the day. Even a dog that we get from the pound is now a rescued dog, as if we ran into a burning building, grabbed the mud, and dove out through a window as the roof fell in. But the truth is that humans are at their best when they rescue themselves. That's how we grow our emotional muscles and build our personal strength. A society built from strong people of sturdy character is a mighty society. And one constructed of victims is doomed to fade away. The American left is an enabler's paradise. In this world, nobody is fighting against their inclination to do for others what others ought to do for themselves. Liberals are obsessed with compassion and equality. They try to use the one to achieve the other. They think that if they can just lavish enough compassion and money on the less fortunate, they can achieve the goal of an equal society. This awakes in left-wing activists a sort of messiah complex. In order to feel good about themselves, they need always to be saving somebody from somebody else. And so it is that Democrats cultivate victims. They farm them. For example, they insist that blacks are victims of invisible racism rather than internal cultural problems in need of adjustment. If the problem is in-house, then black people need to fix it themselves, and they will get the credit for fixing it. That leaves white liberals out of the loop. Same goes for the poor. A progressive will never blame poverty on laziness and bad decisions. They always cast the poor as victims of the rich, and themselves as Robin Hood. And so it is that just about anybody who can make a halfway plausible claim to victim status is welcomed by the Democrats with open arms. In a society as relatively just and equitable as ours, the supply of victims can never match the unquenchable demand of the would-be saviors. So new groups have to be constantly invented, hence the 30-odd new gender classifications warming up in the wings for their close-up. The dream of an alcoholic is a bottomless glass of whiskey. The dream of a would-be savior is a never-ending supply of victims. You see, they're not really into compassion. Not really. True compassion requires long-term solutions. True compassion doesn't aim to enshrine itself. It aims to obsolete the need for itself. What they are really into is pity. They are the pity party. And if you can knock on the door, well, then you are the guest of honor.
There you go. Here's what one of his videos are.
Okay.
But that's some of it. Hey, he makes some very freaking valid points there. Some serious valid points.
My problem is he's your typical AA member.
I don't care about that. That's irrelevant. The point.
Well, he made it relevant by bringing it up.
Well, he was using that as his starting point. That wasn't what the video was about.
No, it wasn't. But
and be it an AA member or not, it's a simple truth. When he talks there about what compassion really is. Compassion isn't always about giving the stuff. Eventually you get tired of giving to somebody who does nothing for themselves.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then they just claim victim status and continue with the victim status. That is the point he was getting
And
at.
it's not just going on with individuals, it's going on with entire fucking societies.
It's going on with entire societies and countries.
Yeah.
Yes, that is one of our problems.
You have to take the statue down because it offends us. Well, you take your fucking totem poles down because it offends me.
Well, that's it. But see, it goes on like that. And many of those things. I found them all quite interesting, and he goes across many different things in here. That's just one of it. The feminism ones are actually really great. Well, we'll drop in on feminism real briefly before we escape here.
Well,
today.
before you do, I want to throw something out there. One of the posts that is on our page, it's a new perspective. The best way to get over someone is with a car.
Yes, I saw that.
And then Hayden Aries says, and thanks for listening, Hayden. Accurate.
Well,
to which I replied, I'm not sure if an Acura would do the right job, but it's worth a try.
It's always worth it. All right, let's drop in here on feminism real briefly with his first part of feminism. He's got like 4 or 5 parts here in feminism in videos, and all of them are quite interesting. But we'll drop in on the first one. We'll stop this one partway through as we need to continue the chat. Off we go.
Here's a fun game. Get out your Google, click on Images, and type this in. Men marching against women's rights. There are a few pictures of a march in Istanbul with guys wearing dresses, but every other picture shows men marching with women for women's rights. No big demonstrations with men demanding that women lose their rights. Not in this country. Let's get a few facts straight.
Or pretty much
Men
in
are
every
bigger than
country.
women. Men are stronger than women. And until last century, men entirely controlled the government, the courts, the military, and the police. If women had had to fight us for their rights, how on earth could we possibly have lost? What really happened is that women said, we want to do everything that guys do. And men said, okay, not sure why you'd want to do that, but hey, whatever blows your skirt up. Here were millions of women coming out of the 1950s angry that they were expected to stay home with their televisions, washing machines, and station wagons, while men hogged all the fun of working for ungrateful bosses and sneaky tightwad clients. Yeah, the news that we'd been oppressing women came as quite a shock to us guys. We thought we'd been protecting them. Especially since, for a long damn time, working meant swinging a hammer in 90-degree heat or clogging your lungs in a coal mine. Women weren't fighting for those jobs. No, it wasn't until the advent of the air-conditioned office job that women realized that we had them chained to the dishwasher. The basic lie of feminism is that men don't like women, that we don't want the best for them. That's the basic lie. More Google fun. Search the history of alimony. Was that something women fought for? Let me think. No! That's been with us since the Code of friggin' Hammurabi, 1750 BC. Even the primitives were watching out for women. Oh, sure, things were kind of rapey back then, but everything was crazier. It wasn't women who had to run off over the hill and catch a spear in the throat. It wasn't women who were chained to oars in the Greek warships. Being big and strong usually made you a beast of burden. But let's not go all historical here. I've done painting work for maybe 500 couples, and I almost always work for the wife. She picks the colors. She's the one I have to impress. In most of the marriages I've seen, the women are in charge. They're not oppressed. Look, from the first time that puberty causes us to lose our minds over a girl, we are helpless to control their influence over us. Why do we do the things we do? Why do we build cities and bridges and McMansions in the suburbs? So that we can get the best women. Period. End of lesson. All that a woman really needs to do is to stay attractive and feed her man's ego from time to time, and she'll have a soldier with her in every fight. Feminists find that idea.
What they need to do is,
Yeah, that's it. All right, so let's continue on
Offensive. They think that's disrespectful. And speaking of respect, the notion that men don't respect women is complete madness. These men who were supposedly oppressing women in the 50s and 60s, who raised those men? Women. Remember, their dads were at work. It was mommy who cared for them. It was mommy who taught them how to act. We're trained from day one to rely on women, to follow their advice, to treasure them. Listen, if you want to leave little Emma with the hired help while you claw your way up the corporate ladder, be my guest. But first ask yourself this: who has more real power in the world? The female mid-level manager making $60K? Or the wife of the guy making $100K? Who is freer? Who is more secure? Who has more time for her children? In this country, women have the most generous package of rights and protections ever offered at any time in human history. And they're still taken to the streets in protest. Why? Why are they so unhappy? I'll tell you why. Because feminism has backfired. Feminism has gone horribly, horribly wrong. But this is only part one. I'll see you over at part two and we'll get into it.
Yeah, we won't go down the whole rabbit hole here today with these. But again, he makes some valid points and brings forth a lot of the things about what's happened in the world of feminism and how it's gone from something that maybe it did have its needs once upon a time, but now they're chasing after ghosts and gremlins and doing nothing more than most of the time hating on men.
True. He makes a few very fantastic points. Especially, I like the one about who raised these men.
That's right.
Yeah, it was women.
They were raised by women.
And I jokingly said before, I don't know why women are so upset. They got half the money and all the pussy.
Yeah.
A woman wants something. All she's got to do is either suck dick or put out, and she's going to get it.
Pretty much.
And women refuse to see that. That's the power in the world. Pussy is power. So they're fighting for all these things that they can, if they just stop and thought about it, they've already got.
They had them.
Yeah.
They had all those things, and then they had the bigger bonus of not having to slog through everything.
But
now, there's always going to be the exceptions of the women that wanted to slog through it and climb the corporate ladder. But one of the things feminism has done to women is it has made women feel guilty for choosing to stay home.
Yeah. And, I can hear the feminists screaming now, well, why do I have to sacrifice my body to get what I can go and get myself? You don't.
You don't. Go do it.
No one says that you have to. But if you think about it, if you want something bad enough, and all women have done this, if they've wanted something from a guy, they've just either sucked dick or fucked the guy until they got what they wanted.
Pretty much.
Sex is power. Women know this, but they're not satisfied with that. They don't realize just how much power they do have.
Oh, absolutely. And what's funny is, even though, modern feminists and stuff, they still revert back to old feminine ways. I got a nice example of it today. I was out to lunch with a bunch of people, and they were all 30-something, so I guess right in the millennial generation.
Yeah.
And we were chatting at the table and joking, and the waiter was trying to figure out how to get the bill, and I guess he was confused in particular by a couple of them, a guy and a gal there that were sitting side by side, and they could have looked like they were together, and so everybody made a joke about it, and then she popped off, "Oh, well, then you're paying then."
Yeah.
It's like... It's like, okay. And of course, he did a really good job of coming back. It's like, oh, no, you're paying this time.
Hey, I've had that happen to me where the bills come and they automatically put it in front of the guy.
They do. They stuff it right in front of the guy.
And I have turned around and said, oh, no. Equal rights. She gets it.
She gets it.
And the looks I've gotten from the wait staff.
Oh, yeah.
If it's a guy, it's like, yeah, right on, buddy. If it's a woman, like, how fucking dare you, you cheap cocksucker.
That's pretty much it.
But, I want to
equal rights.
move on for that for a quick second because we're going to wrap up here.
Yeah, wrap up. We'll roll on to something else. What else we got?
I've got this picture that I posted.
Which one?
Of the T-shirt, Americans have the right to bear arms.
Oh, okay. Canadians
have the right to bear breasts.
Yes.
Think about it. Where would you rather live, folks? Where you can bear arms or have bare breasts?
Yeah, we'll vote for the boobs.
We'll always go for the boob.
All right.
And we're trained. We're trained by women to do that. Do you want the bottle or do you want the boob?
Yeah,
I'll take the
day
boob.
one.
Hey, if beer came out of tits, we'd never leave the tit.
Here you go. Here's one last photo here
Oh, yes.
of what went wrong. 1917, man dressed like a man. Hat, suit, tie, sharp power. In 2017, I'm not even sure. It looks like he's wearing pajamas. It's really sad.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't think Volkswagens would even have that as a seat cover, you know?
No. They might put it in a Kia,
though. Who knows? Anyways, I think that's a good place to wrap
That's
up
a good
for the
place
night.
to wrap it up. We'll wrap it up. This show's a little shorter than usual, but hey, we've got world's your oyster. Go out there and dig it up.
Check out our Facebook page. Follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, and go start thinking about digging into your pockets for donations. We're gonna have that up there soon. We want you, our listeners, to support the show. Leave comments for us. Tell us how badly we're doing or what you'd like to see us cover. We wanna get this show moving forward little by little. So that's it for this week. Remember to support our troops, support our veterans, and check out the photos that we've got on our Facebook page. There's a great T-shirt that says, "Honestly, I did not intend to offend you. It was just a bonus." So if I've offended you, you're welcome. You're welcome. Always happy to offend. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye bye.